I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This new moon is like. It is something else coming up on this energy. Even without the new moon, there's all this stuff in Aries, so. I guess I will just jump into it and start talking about this. Okay. As you guys can see, this, all of this is what we currently have in Aries right now. That also being the new moon. I'm not gonna lie, just looking at this makes me drained. Like, just literally looking at all that. I mean, we had a lot in Aquarius when this was going on, but this is like your things on podcast mode. Okay, so 6th house energy, we have Chiron, Mercury, Moon, and Sun, because it's a new moon all together. And then very close to that, kind of with some 7th house energy, is Venus in Aries too. So all that stuff's in Aries. The new moon itself is at 22 degrees, which is always a wonderful thing. This energy, I'm just gonna go one planet at a time with this Aries energy. We all know what we've been dealing with Chiron. Being in Aries, it's this huge healing of the individual self. What it means to be yourself without other people and influences and things like that. Getting that feeling of being comfortable in pioneering energy and forging forward instead of feeling stuck, which is really hard because this is a deep wound kind of place. So we still have this with Chiron. Now, we are currently already in Mercury and Aries. We've been in it for a little bit, so obviously confrontations and quick to anger thoughts have been in the air. This Mercury energy also makes people talk fast. It just makes it to where decisions are made on a whim. Some of these can be creative. It can be doing something original. Whereas others of these are literally coming straight out of anger. And I feel like I'm fighting with my music a little bit, so I'm going to turn it down. Literally talking of fighting, and I'm fighting with my music. But, this energy is just like, well, screaming could be some of it too. I was about to say this energy is just like screaming, like can easily like incite anger, but it could literally be yelling too, because this energy can be very volatile. As good as it can be with all this paired together, and just kind of going through like in this energy of just sticking on us every single day. It's especially on the new moon, we're gonna be feeling this like really heavy all day long, probably like the few days before and after. We're just gonna be feeling it like all day, and it's gonna keep amping, because as it gets closer to the new moon, Mercury actually becomes conjunct to the new moon. So definitely, because the new moon is actually happening later at night, depending on where you are. I am PST, and it's happening at 7:30. So you know, EST 10:30. All these other places, wherever you are, it's pretty much nighttime, or going to be very early morning if you're very ahead of schedule with the hours. But This means this energy is going to be sitting on us. Is there someone mowing their lawn while I'm doing this? Let me close my window. This is ridiculous. Okay. So, I can't. Everything's trying to fight. This is also too people fighting. Okay, message here. This is also people fighting to be heard, to express their voice, where they might have been keeping a lot of things in. Especially if you feel like you've been fighting an internal battle and it's been very unhealthy and it's been really affecting your health. For some, physically, this can be a little more aggressively affecting your health, not only internally, but, you know, people around you, as Owen's been telling us. But there's a very wide spectrum to this, but behind all of it is having this feeling of unheard anger, and also this feeling of the individual self being stifled out for relationships that you have. It's almost like you asserting boundaries, but in asserting these boundaries, some people are going to get very angry. This could also be people overstepping boundaries that have already been laid down, and then tempers flaring because of that. But overall, this is just a really big energy of you need to listen to me. And some people are going to be a little calmer at expressing it than other people. Really depends on where you have placements aspecting this. Because, I mean, Owen, you had pretty much this thing sextiling all of your Gemini stuff, so it just made this easy flow for you to talk a lot. And Mars is still in Gemini. So, and the North Node's in Gemini. There was probably so many things flying out of your mouth that, looking back, you're kind of like, where the hell did some of that come from? But, it's like it really depends on your placements. Obviously, some people with whatever aspects they have are going to be more physical, and you have to kind of be careful about that. Because if they're very quick to anger, they have a very fast temper. This is something where you need to kind of consider your well-being before you speak. Make sure you're in a safe space if you're going to do this. Somewhere that you know it's going to be received, because it's a lot different being able to express something that's really been buried and hurting you for a long time, because Chiron and Mercury are conjunct too. Like, this is really addressing very deep wounds, subconscious ones at that, like hurt inner child. Like, literally, we have all this energy just sitting together of needing to address these things. And it's like that 22 energy is a lot like North Node energy, or Uranus energy, which all that's tied into this too. But having these energies being so easily linked together just makes it to where the flow towards what there is a lot of obsession that can be in this too, by the way. And not just because there's 8th house energy with the North Node and Mars, but also because there are so many easy aspects happening between all of the Aries energy and these two planets. Well, Mars being a planet and the North Node being an aspect, but this energy is just like secrets coming out, you know, people realizing that relationships with certain people are very detrimental to their health, trying to put up boundaries, people being extremely emotionally upset. Especially, this could be things with married couples really coming out strong. a lot of suppressed feelings that have, it's just like kind of going in day to day, and then finally like things just come out that have been buried beneath the surface. Same for business partners, any kind of relationships, really friendships. There's just this huge emphasis on needing to stand your ground, basically. And some of this is dealing very heavily with family as well, because there's a lot of like this Gemini Aquarius energy that is just forming a bunch of sextiles to all this Aries energy is pretty much making it where if we want to make strides and we want to heal things, we've been working on it and trying to get through things. This is, oh hey hun. But this energy is so easily aspecting each other that if you've been working on it, this could definitely be bringing some blessings where your relationships are concerned, where dealings with really healing matters of the heart and being able to work past subconscious wounds. Those things will flow very easy for you at this time. If anything, it'll be like a clean slate is being given to you, and you're able to start over and do what you want. Like you're starting a completely new chapter and writing what you want out of it. But you have to be doing the work for that. If not, it's just going to be this easy way of very rapid, angry communication. Because there's a lot of buried hurt and no one's talking about it and being communicative about it. This also has a lot to do with healing how we communicate, because when you're coming from a place of really buried deep pain, usually what tends to happen is the way we express ourselves reflects it. And even if you don't realize that it's damaging other people in the process, it's like this is going to be one of those things like an epiphany. Like your relationships are going to be mirroring the air. Like, it's like the air is going to be filled with this. It's like your relationships, no matter what kind of relationships they are going to be mirroring back to you very rapidly, almost like on impulse, what you are giving out communication wise. And it's like you have to think, like, how are people responding to me when I say things? Oh, thank you for subscribing, hun. But this energy, this is, like I said, this is rapid energy. We're dealing with fire that is just being whirled into this tornado with all this air energy. There really isn't much trying to cool this energy off, like, at all. We got Neptune Pisces going over here, but it's more making us dream of, you know, what would make our heart happy, like what would we like to create. It's like being in that little fantasy land, but it's not necessarily doing anything in the way of helping us ground our drive and what we are doing with our mouths. Like what we're saying. If anything, it helps us go back to memories in our subconscious very easily, for better or worse. Like I said, if you've been working on things, it's almost like things will come to the surface, memories, things in dreams. They're just going to be surfacing and helping you heal through things that you didn't even realize were there. If you haven't been, things are going to keep being brought to the surface and reopened again and again and again, to the point where people are getting very angry with each other. We have Uranus in the mix and Taurus like chilling in here, but all it's doing is throwing this factor of being really unpredictable in with this Taurus energy, and possibly like really showing like the balance in certain relationships. Like, is there security, whether that is financial, emotional, just all these things, like a bunch of unexpected things just being thrown your way, and really showing you just how progressed your relationships are. Like I said, instant mirrors being thrown at you. And these are going to be some of the closest people to you because these are people that you feel you have a secure footing with, and it's almost like wounds that you didn't realize you have with these people are going to be coming out. But you have to be in the mindset to receive this, and so does the other person. If you guys both aren't in the place yet, I would really recommend just writing things down. You don't want to fall into the energy of this where you're just flaring up at everybody and then having it flared right back at you. It's like a lot of energy that can just keep building momentum very rapidly, and depending on what you're putting behind that energy is what you're going to get back pretty much tenfold, because Saturn's throwing itself into the mix with building karma. If you're in your Saturn return right now, this is pretty much, this could be part of your reaping of your karma right now, depending on what you've been building towards your Saturn return. This could be a lot of that just being thrown in your face right now. So if you've been creating up to your Saturn return, like a bunch of things, working on relationships with people, right now it could be coming back to you as like a bunch of healthy things, or people coming back into your life that understand and respect you because they've gone through their own growth, and it's like I said, starting over from a clean slate. Pluto being in the mix here, and once again it's in this communication energy. Pluto being in the mix, and it's gonna be going retrograde I think a week or so after this new moon. So whatever gets started here, whatever communication happens, because Pluto's this depth energy, there are a lot of challenges, there's a lot of squares that are going back and forth. The only sextile we have is Neptune over here trying to like soften the blow a little bit, but it can only do so much. But there's a lot of squares that are happening between Pluto and all this, which means communication is going to be difficult. It's going to be painful for some people. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of reopening of these wounds that we buried somewhere, we forgot about. It's almost like the Capricorn energy is like this dirt on the grave, and then all of a sudden like it's being dug up by all of this energy. Once this starts and then goes further past this new moon, whatever happened here, you're going to be instantly revisiting when Pluto goes retrograde. So keep in mind what is happening right now. What's happening, I mean, before this week, after this week, is pretty much what's been happening to you this month. Like, what has been happening to you since Aries season started? And realize that's what you're going to be getting thrown right back into at the end of April with Pluto going retrograde. So really pay attention and try to get to where you want to be in certain relationships, whether that's cutting things off, really trying to turn a new leaf, and be able to openly communicate better. Boundaries, whatever it is, this needs to be worked on right now. Or when you revisit this with Pluto, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna make for a good time, because when this stuff starts revisiting with Pluto, there's gonna be a lot of planets moving into Taurus, which, even though trines are gonna start being created with Pluto, that just means there's a very easy flow to get back what was happening with these planets. So it can bring a lot of security, a lot of money, a lot of benefits, and pretty much all these areas I'm talking about that are getting flared up right now. Or it can literally solidify what bridges you burned, or what damage you created. It's like you're making right now, you're starting something right now with these weeks. So really be honest with yourself and do what's best for your healing. For some people, it's going to be a lot harsher than others. But this is like a setup energy here. And even though, like, you know, Aries is the sign that begins the zodiac, it's the new energy. With all this connection to Pluto, this is bringing in new life to something that we thought was dead, and deciding what we're going to create out of it. Like, what foundation are we going to make out of this? And realizing that once all these move and we're getting towards this retrograde, like I said, we're going to revisit it, but in Taurus, we're solidifying it. And whatever we solidify, because right after this Taurus season, we're going to be getting that blood moon that I talked about back in January. We're going to be getting back, because that's going to be the trine with the air. That's going to be the trine with all this Saturn energy. We're in a rapid succession right now. And even when things move into Taurus, it's going to be very fast-paced energy, even though it's in an earth sign. It's going to be like reaping immediately what you've sown, and then shooting forward and seeing if you learned and if your style of communicating your own pain and your own boundaries has changed. Also, this could just shoot forward into people being in more beneficial partnerships, whether that's business, relation, whatever, family. It could be a whole bunch of things, honestly, that just catapult forward and actually create a security and this feeling of self-value and self-worth. But it really, I'm telling you guys, these next few weeks, you really, for one, big thing, boundaries with your health is going to be a huge thing here. If you are tired or something is off with your body, and you're realizing that it's your relationship either with yourself and how you view yourself and what you do to yourself in certain relationships, or it's literally like you actually reviewing your relationships and where you feel you stand in them, there needs to be this thing where you pay attention to your physical health, and you're going to realize that there is actually a lot of your physical health being affected by these stressful situations. It is stressful to try to work through this stuff. I'm not saying that, you know, you're in a stressful situation, then all of a sudden, like, you start working on it, or you cut someone out, and then, like, immediately it's like, boom, everything's better. It's like, it's stressful to do this too. So a lot of times it's easy to give up and be like, you know, if I'm going to be stressed, I'll just go back to the old thing. That is very tempting, because Aries energy burns out fast. And having all these planets could mean that you just get tired and it's like, I don't feel like trying, I'll just go back to the old thing. Don't fall into that trap, because this new moon being 22 degrees is seeing, is it worth it to you? Is what you want to do for yourself worth it to you? Like, it's pretty much like you sitting and asking yourself, am I worth it? And being very honest, because this 22 energy, you're gonna know what's going on. There's no way you can hide from the truth with this energy. But this is also you realizing, like, that true north energy and what you want to do with it. For a lot of people, it's going to be very spiritual, or like, no matter what you believe, because it's just going to be testing a lot of what holds your hope and your faith. And if your faith and worth is put in other people, then this is going to be a big tower moment crumbling thing for you to learn how to stand on your own. Not trying to scare people or anything, but that's just kind of what's up here. Like, there's definitely going to be situations put out where that's going to be really brought to your attention, and you're going to have to see, how do I feel if this wasn't in my life, this wasn't, it's like you really have to take stock of people as individuals. But on a grander scale, this could be like individual, like communities that you could be a part of, literally, that make you feel a certain way and that you need to remove yourself from them. Like I said, this can be a test of faith and people really embarking on something new with that. If things get shaken up and thrown into the woodwork, and just kind of open your eyes. But this moon, for me, I feel like it's going to be draining, just personally. But all of this stuff, including Uranus, like literally all the Aries stuff and Uranus is sitting in my 10th house. I don't know what the hell to even think about that right now. So I'm just trying not to think about it. But we're all heading towards wherever this is sitting for you. So wherever you have Aries, starting at like 9 degrees, literally, everything past that to 9 degrees Taurus is where all these planets are. So you can kind of look at that and be able to see where it's hitting in your chart, because that's where all these energies are falling. It's gonna be falling across, I mean, in my case, it's falling across only one house, but it can be falling across two for you. It can be only one. It's like, just look at those areas and see where this is being highlighted for you, because this is going to be, it's pivotal wherever you have it. You're going to be doing things that scare the shit out of you, and making very rapid decisions about it, and wanting to communicate once you have those decisions. It's going to be like one of those things where it's like you can't sit with it for long. So as much time as you feel you can sit with it, at least try to think through it and get at least more than one viewpoint in from yourself, because this is a lot of self energy. I'm not saying run out and get like a whole collective view on like how you feel about something. This is more like you collecting information, because, you know, this Gemini energy, collecting information and then doing something with it. If you haven't been doing it yet, at least start this week collecting some information on how you feel about these things, so that when this new moon hits, it's not like you're just being smacked with all the feels, basically, because this is happening Sunday. So use this week, and then, you know, the highlight of Sunday, and then next week, like, you know, trying to tie up whatever you're doing. So once Pluto goes retrograde, you actually have something that is of substance to go back to, instead of something that is very fleeting, because that can definitely happen as well. But I think that's pretty much, trying to see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Yeah, it's definitely possible at this new moon for some people to really be stepping into some good financial benefits over here. But that's like energy that you already know, like whether that's using your talents you already know, or possibly, you know, trusted relationships. This is going to be a lot of what you know and what brings you security. If you like already have this as a basis, you could actually boost some financial situations with it too, and it'd be kind of expansive since this is Sagittarius energy, and it would be fueling what you're learning in the Gemini energy. It's like being pulled towards that is going to help build more for you, especially when it comes to finance. For some people, court, things speeding along pretty well. For others, if you're doing divorce proceedings, it could be that speeding along swimmingly if that's what you're going for. But there's a lot of energy here where it's trying to balance out whatever endings you're happening with bringing in some abundance. So, but you have to decide on what you're doing with that. And if your Saturn 6th degree Aries, it's conjunct Mercury and Chiron. So you are definitely building karma, Owen. You're building some big karma, and your healing and communication over here, this is like some spitfire for you right now. So you definitely need you just have sextiles all over the place, like all your Gemini placements, your Aries ones doing sextiles to the Aquarius Saturn energy. You're just gonna, you need to be careful, hon. You're definitely building a lot of karma right now, very rapidly. So really think about this, because as you can see, stuff is flying back to you very quickly right now. So you really need to be more mindful, even though it's easier to react or maybe be pushed into situations where you're reacting out of habit. It's coming from a place of hurt, and you need to sit with yourself and find out where that is. Otherwise, you're just going to keep creating more for the cycle. You can have a fresh slate. You just got to make the decision to. And you can start clearing this out and putting something new in its place. But you have to decide to start doing it. Like, really, for you, it would be like intense boundaries. I'm not gonna lie. Like, your boundaries are like, they get bent so much, you're gonna have to put up walls with a lot of people. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep sucking yourself dry, basically, and that's what you're gonna be creating for yourself, especially when everything gets in the Gemini and is just having a stellium upon stellium with you. Like, your solar return will literally be lit in some way, whatever way you want to look at it. But it's either going to be a bunch of fun stuff coming in, or it's going to be a whole lot of mess that was created out of anger coming in. So you got to kind of really shape that up right now. Because boundaries help it to where people don't rile you up either, or make it to where you have to say certain things. It's like you can just be like, whatever. It's like you need a boundary with communication big time, and that's what this is highlighting for you. Because it's highlighting this collectively, and with your placements, how they are. It's pretty much like you literally are being put in the place right now where it's like, are you going to assert boundaries, or are you just going to keep creating this cycle over and over? But that is what I'm seeing for the chart.